Dad with us as we talk about what's going on as far as the world of sports is concerned. Let's say hello to Mark in Maryland, and he joins us here on our program at 23 after the hour. Mark, good afternoon. How are you today?
Hey, Chris, the season has gotten off to a disappointing start so far, to say the least.
Sure has.
I mean, the Zimmerman is really killing him in that four-hole. He has, left on so many guys. You know,
why did he not play any games in spring training?
Well, I guess he was just trying not to get hurt. You know, he's so injury prone. You know, he figured, they had him playing like minor league games and, not really playing the games. I don't think they'll do that again. But, now you got this 3-game.
I mean, this is a guy that didn't play one spring training game. He's hitting 105. I mean, that's ridiculous for crying out loud.
Bad. But now they got this big 3-game series, and you got Jeremy Hellickson pitching the opening game, which is, that's a kind of a desperation move there too. I mean, that's just not something you want to see.
The Nationals' back end of the rotation is not very good. 3, 4, 5. I don't know. You tell me, Mark. And I know the Nationals don't want to treat these games in April any more significant than they are, but these games have set the Mets up now and have a big year. How do the Nationals only have Strasburg and Scherzer go once in 6 games against the Mets? Explain that to me.
Yeah, I can. It's just it's idiotic, really, when you think about it. I was begging for a rain out yesterday so that maybe Strasburg could pitch tonight, and get them off to a decent start, but it didn't happen. And they're just basically the hitting has just not been there. I mean, they're getting decent pitching even out of the Roark and Gonzalez have been decent. But they're getting no hitting. Harper's hitting 300, and I think Kendrick is the other one hitting a little bit, but the rest of the guys just have not gotten started yet. I know Eaton and Murphy have been injured, and then Rendon got hurt Friday night, fouled the ball off his foot, so he was out the last 2 games. But
right.
they're not playing well right now. And, it might be like you said, it's just one of those years where maybe they're just not going to –
it happens.
They're not going to fire, and you're seeing that with a couple other teams also,
Well, the Dodgers, good call, Mark. The Dodgers, certain degree, the Cubs, it's only 14 games. The Cubs are 4.5 out last year at the All-Star break. Look what they did. But you would wonder a little bit, to a degree, about the Nationals. And I don't like giving the Mets this kind of start. That series the Mets had, winning 3 straight in Washington 2 weeks ago, or 12 days ago, was a huge series for the Mets. Or 9 days ago, I should say. That series meant everything for the Mets. The idea, Mark, that the Mets went into D.C. and swept the Nationals, home opener, Saturday, Sunday, to go to 12-2, thereabouts. That is something that the Nationals might rue the day, because they gave the Mets confidence, is what they did. They gave the Mets confidence.
And you can't say it's too early, because, these games count, too. You can't let them get 10 games ahead, and then you're chasing them the whole season,
100%, Mark. Good call. And right now they might be on their way to being 10 ahead. Lee in Jersey's on Mad Dog Unleashed. Lee, good afternoon. How are you today?
Well, close. In Katona, your neighbor. They always give you the wrong city, I guess.
Oh, they do. I mean, again, I don't have a sharp staff, and it sometimes gets me in trouble. All right, Lee in Katona, what's on your mind today? What do you have for me? Go ahead.
You might recall before the season started, we talked about the earliest start, and I know why they moved the baseball start earlier. We're going to set the under-over on snowouts at 3. It's clearly way more than 3. I did love your point, though, about not having those teams making a single trip to a city, starting in these snowbound and cold cities. That's an excellent point. A number of years ago, I believe they changed the way the schedules were made to minimize the amount of travel. They saw some disproportionate travel with some of the teams, like a couple of extra 1,000 miles of travel. And the scheduling software is supposedly trying to minimize those discrepancies now.
Well, Lee, listen, I don't know. I don't know if they're, again, it's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle, and good call. So I understand, every team has what it wants. Everybody gets 13 weekends. I get all that. But, and I know that I'm probably asking too much for them to do it right. But it seems to me on April 12th, if you have 6 cities, 6 teams in cold weather spots hosting 6 other teams for their only visit in, you're asking for trouble. When you have Cleveland, Wrigley Field, Comerica, Royal Stadium, Milwaukee, and at Citi Field, Milwaukee, and the Rockies playing in Washington, and you do that second week of the season, that's dangerous. And that's what baseball did. And I think it's hurt them a little bit. And they're going to be playing doubleheaders into the yin-yang. People are going to complain. People are going to be tired. It's going to be a mess. Jimmy in Dallas, Mad Dog Unleashed for him. Jim, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Dog. Okay, you kind of glossed over this with Al from White Plains, but I think the biggest issue is the deaths of the doubleheader. So I went to the internet here. In 1967, before they started to decline, in the NL, teams averaged 15 doubleheaders a year. So that's 15 days, extra days that they've given up.
Right.
In the AL, it was 24. So when we talk about the problems with the schedule, plus you throw in those extra days off that the players bargained for, that's what's killing the whole
I agree.
thing.
No doubleheaders, but they're not. But Jim, they're not going to change that because if they do doubleheaders, single price admission, they lose money. They lose a gate, so they're not going to do that.
You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. But when you think about the days they've given up, plus those are days they could use to make up for rainouts, weather-related delays, et cetera, that is what has really killed it. Okay, it's all about greed. Everything comes down to money. And as I just said, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. So two other things real quick. So I'm signed up again for the men's invitational in June.
And I'm going to play in that today. I am playing in that this year. So we'll see each other out at Shore Haven.
Fantastic. And then tonight in the hotel bar, I'm trying to make some progress on the Tom Yawkey bio. It's a little bit of a slog. I think you overrated a little bit, but trying to plow through that tonight.
All right. No, there you go. Listen, maybe it's me. I mean, I love that kind of book. I can understand maybe it's not for everybody. I got like the old Red Sox, Jim. Good call. But I was totally into it, I must admit. Read the Tiger book, too, as you know. And, yes, the Shore Haven two-day member. We will play and have some fun. Steve Torrey has returned, and he says hello. Yankees
hello.
at 7 Hello, Steve. Yankees at 7-7. What's your take on that for a sec? With the Red Sox at 13-2.
Yeah, well, Red Sox are playing very well. Got to give them some credit, obviously. And now they go to the West Coast. If the Red Sox do damage in Anaheim and have a nice West Coast trip, where do they go after that? I would assume Seattle. I'd have to take a look, but
right now. By the way, are you interested tomorrow in that Red Sox Anaheim game with Ohtani pitching?
Yes, absolutely. Now, it's too bad that can't be aired at 8 o'clock Eastern as opposed to 10. But, that's
bottom line is you will watch that game.
Well, I mean, I'll put it on at the beginning if I'm going to stick with a 9-inning game on a Tuesday night till about 1:20 in the morning. I'm not quite sure that's happening, but I'll stick with it for a while. Sure, absolutely.
Right, Boston plays Anaheim and Oakland and Toronto on this road trip. 9 games.
Yeah. Well, if they come back and they do pretty well, and the Yankees sort of spin their wheels a little bit, and we get to the end of the month and they're 6-7 games out, it's going to be a little concerning.
And after that, you better hope they have a bad stretch. Because when they come back from the trip, they play Tampa, Kansas City, and Texas.
Yeah, the Yankees, I think, will have a pretty their schedule will get a little more difficult. Now, they've got a homestand now with the Marlins, the Twins, and Toronto. So, there's an opportunity there to do a little bit of damage. Hopefully, for their sake, they do.
But then they play, listen to this, then the Yankees will play at the Angels, at Houston.
Yeah.
Cleveland at home, Red Sox at home.
Yeah, very difficult stretch. Those are 4.
Oakland at home and at Washington.
Yeah, I mean, those are maybe 5 out of 5 of those teams could be playoff teams. Pretty
That's
difficult.
A tricky schedule. Yeah. You saw the Elvis Presley thing. I have not seen it.
I haven't seen it in its entirety yet, and I kind of stumbled. I had heard about it, and I was channel surfing late Saturday night. And I saw the end of the first part and a decent part of the second, but I really have to watch it in its entirety. But from the parts that I saw, I thought were very good.
I heard it was how long is each episode? 3 hours or 2?
I think it might only be 90 minutes each, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, 90 minutes each. So when you got there at the end of the 90 minutes, on Saturday night. Where were you in Elvis's life?
Well, like I said, I did it sort of disjointed. It was dumb because I watched the second part where, leading up to his death. But it was very interesting, and it caught my eye, and I kind of couldn't turn it off, so I stuck with it. And I probably shouldn't have, because I should have watched it chronologically in the proper order, but I did not.
Well, they did the same thing with Frank Sinatra about 5 or 6 years ago. That was superb with Sinatra. Same theme. So they probably did an excellent job with this. I got to find that. I did not see
Here's
it.
What I'll tell you.
Me about it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is the footage is great. You get a lot of behind the scenes things during recordings. And there are many people here that contribute to it, and they got Petty obviously before he died. I mean, but again, it's not on camera. The people that are contributing, it's just their voice. But Springsteen's on there, Petty's on there. It's interesting, and I think I'd be surprised if you don't like it.
I would love that. Yeah, I gotta find. Could you find out when that's on, please? You haven't told me that. Could you find out when that's on?
Yeah, we could look into that. Eddie, could you find out when Elvis Presley, I think it's called The Searcher, I believe is the title. Elvis Presley, The Searcher.
Please, that's important.
Very important.
Could you find out? Because Steve did tell me about this, and yesterday he was all wrapped up in it. And and Mike Riker said it to me too, so it's something I have to watch. So that was good. Okay. Anything else you want to bring up today?
Did you see the Andre the Giant?
I didn't. I have no interest in that. I heard that was good too.
Very
good.
See? And I have very limited interest in that too. But they did a very good job with it. Another very, very, very well done.
Was it as good as the Ric Flair thing they did?
I didn't see the Ric Flair one, but a lot of people love that. But the Andre the Giant thing, I thought it was excellent.
I didn't see that.
Felt bad.
I heard it was good.
He had a little bit of a rough time, but it was good.
So you got into that too. So you had a good TV week watching this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the sports was sort of up and down. On Saturday, yesterday was obviously good with the Cavs. And
yesterday was a good day.
Yeah.
All the games, the Bucks game was good. The Cavs game was pretty good.
Yesterday, better than Saturday.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. Saturday, the Golden State game was terrible. That's the problem.
Terrible, and I stuck with that very little amount. I watched a good part of the Sixers. A lot of energy in that building. They were into it big time. The hockey was dead on Saturday for the most part. Nothing really doing there.
Well, the Bruins are killing Toronto. That kills the series.
Game was over very quickly. So not a lot. I did see I saw the good part of the late game yesterday with Washington and Columbus, so that was decent.
Yeah, it was a good game. Good game.
And,
that's been a good series. That's been the best series so far.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, good job. Steve Torres got a sports bite. He's on Mad Dog Unleashed.
Mad Dog Sports Radio.